Here is another viewer requested video. They wanted to know if I could provide them with a inexpensive heavy duty step for a concrete platform that they had built, and something that looks fairly nice. And again, you could do a variety of different things with this model. The bottom pieces here and the steps, you can use different wood. You could use a 4x12 for this. You could use two 4x6s instead of the 4x4s here. And if you need it to be a little higher, you could always use larger blocks. But this right here provides us with a 7-inch step. If we needed it to be a ½ inch larger, then we might want to, I wouldn't suggest adding a piece of plywood in here, but you could always use a piece of scrap lumber, something that's not going to delaminate or expand like OSB or plywood kind of a thing. Or you might even want to just get a 4x6 and rip it down to a, to a 4-inch board or 4.5-inch board, whatever you're looking for. I'll let you get as creative as you want there. Another view of it from the side. Take a look at it from the bottom. We can use angled hardware, something like these framing anchors for the bottom. And again, you are going to have to take a look at this design and modify it as necessary for what you want it to look like, for appearance reasons also. So for example, on the sides you could put a mending plate here, something like this. But if you don't want to look at that, then you might need to get something else. If you're just going to build a step that's going to be sitting on the ground, you're not going to move it, you're not going to do anything with it, the framing anchors on the inside might be enough. You might need to put some angled screws from the 4x4s on the top into the 4x4s on the bottom. Only thing I'd be worried about is this thing coming apart. I don't know if this would be enough to hold everything together, especially if you're going to be moving it. I'd like to see something on the sides, but at the same time, I understand that you might not want the look of it, so you might need to redesign something a little different. So we have a mending plate. We can always use a strap, something like this. Couple of more straps that might be a pattern that would be acceptable for you on the outside for looks. Always turn it around there. Use 3 there or 2. And the reason why you might be able to get away with using 2 is because you're going to have something on the inside here. This is going to provide you with a nice connection. But if this wood starts to warp or twist somehow, then the center strap might be preferred. Having a strap on each board. And this might be to where you might want to use a 4x12. You put a 4x12 in here and you put these on, it's going to give you a different design. You use a 4x6 and then you might just need 2 of these. You're not going to need 3 of them. And again, you could always use the 4x6 for the bottom if you were going to get one large piece of lumber. And then, of course, a strap on this side. And I think something I'm kind of, suggesting here when I say that you can get into use a variety of different pieces of lumber. You could use a 4x6 on the bottom. You don't want to go in, if this is 3 foot wide, and we have a 4x4, this is going to be 9 feet. Well, they don't sell 9-foot lumber. So you might want to get a 12-foot board, and then that way you can get your 11 inchers here or whatever you're going to need. You can get those out of the 12-footer. If you get a 4x6, I'm not suggesting that you get a 4x6 for the top, a 10-footer, and then get a 8-foot 4x4 because you need it for the bottom. Get a 12-foot 4x6 so that you can cut all of your pieces out of one board, and then just use the 4x6 on the bottom. So I hope that makes sense. And of course, you could always move the straps to the front. Again, looking for a different design here. And then you're going to need to put one in the back if you do this. And of course, you could always use lag screws. Drill some holes through the bottom board, countersink it, and then use 3 lag screws for something like this. That should make it nice and solid if you don't want to see something on the outside anywhere, like the straps and other types of building hardware. So again, you're just going to be drilling a hole through here for your lag screw and then countersinking it so that it will be lower than the surface of the 4x4 here. So you don't want these things to be sticking up even a little bit. Make sure they're in, if anything, 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch below the surface here. Now, another suggestion that you might try, and I don't have the perfect product for it, but maybe some type of a material that will prevent the step from moving. This is going to be, it could be a safety hazard if this thing moves at all. And if you build this in dirt or gravel, something like that, you might actually need to install some type of connectors and pour a concrete footing underneath it to prevent it from moving. That is the last thing you want, is this step to be moving. And of course, there's our concrete surface and our step. We are done with the video there. So hope it helps. Hope this gives you some ideas. Remember, like I said, you can get a little creative here. You don't need to stick with exactly what I did here. And of course, if you have any suggestions to improve this design, share them with us in the comment area. Those are always sincerely appreciated.